Welcome back. 47 years ago this week, the Alaska Native Land Claims Settlement Act is signed into law.
And as author Laurel Downingbill tells us in this week's Story Time with Aunt Phil, one man who worked tirelessly to help his people get that agreement gets a lot of the credit.
His name was Howard Rock, and according to several sources, he was destined to become a leader from an early age.
As early as, well, birth, which Laurel was in 1911 in a small Alaska village up north.
Near the village of Tikigaq, his grandmother proclaimed that he would become a great man.
Let's pick this story up about 50 years later. What's Rock up to?
Well, in October 1962, the Point Hope native was asked by the Arctic Slope Native Association to start the Tundra Times with Fairbanks journalist Tom Snapp. Rock, who was a soft-spoken man, really energized the native people and brought them together. And he asked them to take pride in their native heritage and culture and to fight for them. So using the Tundra Times, Rock unified the people by knowing their minds and their hearts, Alaska leaders said. At a time when there was much disharmony among the native people, Rock pushed for a statewide gathering of natives, which set the stage for the first ever Alaska Federation of Natives Conference.
And he also played a major role in native land rights.
Perhaps more than anyone else, Rock helped weld together 55,000 natives to fight and win the battle for the largest Aboriginal land claims settlement in America's history. And that was written by Stan Patty for the Seattle Times. Patty said Rock was the natives' voice. And oftentimes he was the only calm voice when a crescendo of dissent threatened to tear Alaska apart. And thanks in part to Rock's activism, the fledgling AFN began demanding land and money from the federal government. And when the Alaska Native Land Claims Settlement Act was signed into law in December 1971, Rock hailed it as the beginning of a great era for Alaska Natives.
So not long after, Howard is recognized for his activism and his newspaper.
In 1975, Howard Rock was named Alaska's Man of the Year, along with Senator Ted Stevens. And later that same year, the newspaper was nominated for the prestigious Pulitzer Prize for meritorious public service. Now, Howard Rock died the next year, April 20th, 1976, of cancer. And his grave, which is near Point Hope, is marked with a granite headstone and the rib of a bowhead whale, which is usually reserved for mighty hunters. However, even though he's gone, his legacy lives on through Native unity as well as activism.
Live on for a long time. Next time in Story Time with Aunt Phil, what people in Cordova created shortly after statehood that has become part of the town's lore and still endures to this day.